Hi, it's David Portney here, also known as the Internet Marketing Brain. Today I'm going to be doing a free SEO website review. If you'd like to get one for yourself, for your own site, just come to my website here, internetmarketingbrain.com, click on the free SEO website review tab, enter your name, your email, and the website you want me to review, and I'll put your review in the queue. Keep in mind that I do get a little backlogged because a lot of people do get in line for reviews, and I also do work Monday through Friday 9 to 5 as a full-time SEO for an online marketing agency, so I am working on paid consulting and other paid things during the weekdays. But I really do love doing SEO, and I like to do SEO all the time and on the side. So contact me if you have questions, and be sure to line up for a free SEO website review. So let's get right to today's free SEO website review. Today's review is a site called DebtReliefDynamics.com. And the first thing that we're going to do is just do a quick check for canonicalization problems and see if it resolves to the non-WW version. And sure enough it does, so we don't see a canonicalization problem there. Another common canonicalization problem is where the home link will resolve to a different page name like index.html or index.php, and we can see this isn't having that problem either. So far so good on not seeing any canonicalization problems here. Next thing I want to do is disable JavaScript and cookies and images and switch my user agent to Googlebot and see if there's any problems being presented by viewing the site more as a search engine, especially Google, would view the site. So now with JavaScript, cookies, and images disabled and having switched my user agent to Googlebot, I'm seeing the site more as a search engine would. And one of the problems that you sometimes see when you do this is that the navigation changes. If it's not HTML navigation, if the navigation is in images, then that's going to be a problem because that's going to disappear. And Google and other search engines are not going to crawl images as your text links. So we can see that there's no problem with that in the sense that links that point to the home page are going to allow link juice to flow freely through the navigation here. Looking at the footer navigation though, down here at the bottom, I would probably combine privacy and FTC disclaimer into one actual link because you don't need to split up there's no real big problem here, but every little bit in SEO adds up. And I personally, if this were my site, I would be combining this into one single link so that way the link juice as it flows through my site is not going to get split into, I'm not going to be dividing up my link juice further with those footer links. Also, you've got a link out to the WordPress theme. I don't know if you're required to do that or you just felt like doing that, but that's also leaking out a little link juice, which is not the end of the world, but every little bit does count. Now I've turned images, cookies, and JavaScript back on, and I've switched my user agent back to default. So now we're looking at the site again as a visitor would. And looking at it from a visitor standpoint, in my opinion, is pretty biased because I do work in online marketing. The average visitor would probably perceive the site a little bit differently than I do, but right off the top of my head, of course, I'm seeing all the AdSense links there. I know that this is linking out to other affiliate programs, as are this box over here. And of course, down below the fold over here on the right side, we've got an email collector, sign up for free tips, which is all that's good. Obviously, this person has monetized their site pretty well. And then down at the bottom, we've got a lot of Amazon affiliate links as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for this person who owns this site to be able to monetize it from a number of levels. Now, having said that, how trustworthy does this site appear is, of course, subjective. My opinion is going to be different than someone else's opinion, which for sure is going to be different than the target audience and for sure different than the site owner. How well you would rank this site in terms of trustworthiness, again, is going to depend on your point of view. Some questions you might want to ask yourself as a site owner is, does this site convey a level of trust that you would want, that someone would give their credit card to you? Now, I'm not saying that the credit card's being asked for anywhere here. I'm just saying, does it have that level of trustworthiness to it that you would feel that a site visitor would feel comfortable giving a credit card? Or how about, would a site visitor want to bookmark this site and come back to it? Is the content strong enough that they'd want to come back? Is the site strong enough that they'd want to refer a friend to this site? So those are some questions you might want to ask yourself about the site, because that's going to affect conversion, obviously. The next thing I want to look at is the title tag, which Firefox is going to display right up here in the blue bar. So debt relief clearly is the primary key phrase that this website is trying to rank for, and then it looks like debt management is a secondary phrase up here. Debt relief and debt management are probably pretty competitive keywords, I'm going to guess, and so one of the things we'll be looking at later, once we're done looking at some of the potential technical barriers, we haven't really seen any yet, but as we try to look at potential technical barriers to ranking and SEO problems from a technical standpoint, and we're also going to be looking at the on-page optimization to some extent as well, and then looking at the competition factors to see how well this site is stacking up against competition for the keywords that they're trying to rank for. So one more thing I'm going to want to do in terms of on-page optimization is I definitely want to take a look at the source code. And so I'll just go ahead and open the source code. And I've already looked at it, but in the head tags I'm not finding any issues or problems. This is not a problem. There's no really need to say to have a meta robots index follow in there. That's the default for all search engines, but it's okay to have it in there. It's not a problem. And I noticed that the site is using Yoast WordPress SEO, which is good. That's a really reputable WordPress plugin for SEO. And in scanning through the head tag, and here's the end of it, I'm not finding any problems in the code in the head tag. So far so good. Now, just clicking around the site a little bit, if I click on debt relief questions, it appears to bring up a blank page, and I'm not sure if that was intended or not. Homepage seems to have content, so does credit repair tips. I noticed that the inner pages versus the home page are not displaying the full content. I don't know if the site owner decided to do that on purpose or not. Also, if we take a quick look at the W3C markup validation showing 13 errors and 8 warnings, I'm not seeing that as really much of a problem either. So let's get rid of that. But the debt relief questions not having any content on it seems a little odd. Let's check for canonicalization problems. Let's check for duplicate content and canonicalization. So as a quick and dirty test for duplicate content and canonicalization, I took the first sentence here on the home page and I punched it into Google and exact match, and lo and behold, sure enough, yes, we do know Debt Relief Dynamics has that sentence on it, but so do these other 5 pages, including a WordPress.com site. Looks like, 2 WordPress.com sites, and then a Posterous.com and LiveJournal. So probably it might not make a lot of sense to have your same content showing up in a bunch of different places. You want to have unique content showing up in your other satellite sites that are going to point back to you. So that's something that you might want to look at correcting. I went back to the page source for a minute. I wanted to see if the H1 tag was matching up with the title tag, and sure enough it is. It's showing debt relief here with also your guide to debt management again. So there's agreement between the title tag and the H1, which is always good. While the meta description isn't technically an SEO ranking factor, it is a click-through factor in the search results pages. So you can see here that debt relief is coming up right up front in the meta description, which is good because that's going to be bolded by the search engines. When people search for debt relief, search engines are going to bold that, especially Google. And then we have debt management again. We've got a nice tight little meta description. So but it does kind of repeat a lot of what's in the title, which is fine. You want to have those keywords in there, but you could think about conversion rate optimization on your search results page by thinking about what a user is going to see when they search, and then see your listing in the search results pages, and what you could do to enhance the click-through rate by enticing people a little bit more. And sure enough, it's good from an SEO standpoint to everything that's here so far, but I would think about maybe doing a little conversion rate optimization on your search result page that way. Going back to the site and getting a quick feel for how well the interior pages are optimized, as I click through the different navigation, I can see that the title tags are reflecting the navigation, and obviously these are key phrases that the site is optimizing for around not just debt relief, but credit repair tips and credit reports. So there's a family of phrases that are trying to optimize for this site that are all related semantically, which is a good idea. And I can see that, again, the title tags are changing as I click through. I click on credit score info. Sure enough, that's the title tag. So that's all really good. I do see that the that this is actually an H2 if we view the selection source. Personally, I would have made that an H1, but that may be just your preference, or it may be a limitation of the theme. H2s are not necessarily the end of the world in terms of using an H2 versus an H1, but you know, every little bit does add up, as I've said before, so I would have made that an H1 personally. Another point of curiosity is going to be how many pages does this site have, and how well is it ranked? Is it even showing up when we put the URL in there? And then let's just see approximately how many pages. About 26 results. So 26 pages, not bad. Obviously 100 is better in terms of having good content that's unique and high quality. But about 26 pages, not too bad. Let's see if that's actually true. And Google says nope, about 2 of 16 pages. So if there's 10 other pages, they're for some reason being kept out of the index or put in the supplemental, although I'm not seeing the error message that Google is not displaying all the results. So it looks like this site must be about 16 pages. As a site owner, you might want to see if that's true. Is Google indeed indexing all of your pages or not? And another thing that we want to look at is Google Webmaster Tools. So going back to the site and then viewing the source code again, we can probably quickly find out whether the site has Google Webmaster Tools validation or not. And yes, we were able to find that this is verified by, or at least has the verification code, so probably you've already submitted an XML sitemap, and if you haven't, I would, because that's going to be helpful. Also in the code, looking for Google Analytics, which is always good. I see you do have it here. Looks like it is it's the async code, which is good. I see you have the async code installed in the wrong place though, which is the before the end body tag. Google used to recommend that. They now recommend, in fact strongly suggest, that you have your async code before the end head tag. And moving it there means that you have a much better likelihood of having all your page views registered and just plain getting better data. So I would definitely move the code up there. Of course, that's not necessarily an SEO ranking factor, but in terms of the performance of your site, you do want the best stats that you can possibly get. So I would definitely move the code up before the close head tag. Well, the next most logical thing to do is probably just go ahead and search Google for the phrase debt relief. And I searched for debt relief dynamics, but it doesn't appear to be showing up on the first page. So let's take a look at the competition factors and see why not. By the way, I also did check to see if there was any issues with frames or flash that could be negatively affecting your website from an SEO perspective, and didn't find any problems there. Although I did notice there was no image alt attributes, which could be helpful. Again, every little bit helps, so you might want to think about an image alt attribute. And a quick peek inside Market Samurai, which is one of the tools I like to use, is showing us that debt relief dynamics up here is not necessarily comparing favorably when it comes to off-page factors, which are pretty important. On-page factors look fine. We've got title, URL, description, head tags all look good. DMOZ and Yahoo, we don't have that in there while some others do. EDU and .gov, we can see some competitors have a number of those. Backlinks to domain and pages, as well as referring domains to the domain, as well as referring domains to the page. You can see that, well, just by looking at the color coding right off the top, you can see that there's a lot of red and yellow in here. While domain age and page rank are not necessarily going to ensure how someone's going to rank in SEO, they are contributing factors to a certain extent. And page rank, although somewhat unreliable, is a ranking factor to watch, although people get really hung up on it. You can see that there's nothing here with a less than page rank 2, and domain ages, there is one here with no domain age, but you can see that everything is 2 and up. So the on-page and off-page factors in terms of competing for the phrase debt relief looks like a bit of an uphill struggle. So then really, like many other things in business, it's a question of return on your investment, or return on ad spend. If you decide to do some pay-per-click testing of this, you've got to really stop and think about, is it worth your time and energy and money, and/or money, to build up the level of backlinks that you would need to compete effectively for a term like debt relief or related terms on your site. So that's really a question I can't answer, and that business owners, I work with business owners all day long, and they have to answer these questions for themselves. How much time and energy and effort is it worth based on what you'll get in return for your efforts? So that's pretty much it for this site evaluation. Thanks for submitting your site for being evaluated. And all in all, my overall comment is that the site in question is fairly well optimized, but considering the competition, it's questionable what the return on investment of time and energy and money is going to be in terms of a payoff for that specific site. And if you enjoyed this site audit and you'd like to have one of your own, please go to internetmarketingbrain.com and click on Free SEO Website Review. Fill out the quick little form with name, email, and the website to review, and I will get to your SEO website review as soon as possible. Also, feel free to contact me if you have any questions and you would like consultation work performed in terms of either a more in-depth site review to really find out what the problems are your site may be having from a technical standpoint, what kind of on-page optimization factors are strong for you or could be stronger or just plain weak or missing, as well as some competitive factors to determine how hard you'd have to work and how much money you'd have to sink into a project and how much it would be worth your time and energy. Do feel free to contact me, and I'll look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks.